Evening, everyone. Myself is Jayaswar, Head Department of Criminology and Police Administration. Now I am going to taking the class for subject the penology and under the subtopic prison reform committees. The Prison Discipline Committee it was started by 1836 to 1838. The Lord Macaulay, who is the persons the member, the extremely poor sanitary conditions and prevailing in prisons, and death rate is also increased, and then disease also high. And on that time, about 141 out of every 1,000 prisoners died in prisons, overcrowded, and then prison population also. So the Lord Macaulay, that's prison committee reforms member, they have to recommended the building of spacious and then central prisons which improved sanitary conditions, health, diet, better medical care, and then discipline of the prisoners. As a result, the several central prisons were built. The first one was built Agra in 1846. The Commission of Inquiry into Jail Management and Discipline, it was started by 1864. The same aspects, the various committee, it was previous committee, could not be fully implemented. The prisons continue to be high. It was noted that 46,309 309 prisoners died in the decade preceding at 1864. So it concluded that sickness and mortality was mainly due to the overcrowding, bad ventilation, and then poor maintenance of the inside of the prison, bad drainage, insufficient clothing, bad water, extraction of labor from unfit persons, and then insufficient medical inspection. These things also happened. So the lot of prisoners also died in inside of the prisons. So the committee will be the committee has been recommended the segregation of the juvenile prisoners from adult prisoners, and then they have to segregate the female prisoners, the male prisoners. Emphasize the jail discipline include the dietary during this period. Practice of posting IMS officer, jail superintendent, ICS officers, we to improve the sanitary, food, healthcare aspects of prisoners. As a result, the reduction is mortality, and then the results should be the drastic changes of death rate. And then the third conference of jail expects the 1877. The review of the prison conditions similar to the previous committee recommended the better food and clothing to the prisoners and bedding and medical care also. The fourth jail commission, it was started by 1888, that recommended the single prison act to have uniformity in prison administration throughout India. They have to recommended the throughout India, the prison act, they will give the uniformity. The 1894, it was enacted. The separation of, they have to convicted and unconvicted criminals, first time offender, youth offender, and then civil prisoners, and then criminal prisoners also, they have to segregated. The prison medical officers are also was required to visit the prisons daily. The prisoners sentenced to RI were not be worked for more than 9 hours a day. Only the superintendent of prisons had the power to punish offending the prisoners. The female and civil prisoners were excluded from the punishment of handcuffs or the fetters or whipping. The erring personnel were liable for the punishment also. And then fifth Indian Jail Committee was 1919 and 1920. Sir Alexander Gadio is the secretary to this committee. And then reform and rehabilitation also they have to focus. The objectives of prison administration, they strongly rejected the juvenile and criminal jail mean for the adult prisoners. Now, any one juvenile, it's not available in the adult prisoners. Firstly, they have to recommended the juvenile court and then juvenile home and juvenile delinquency, which should be segregated, and the probation and then fine also. The formation of discharged prisoners, aid societies to assist prisoners and release habitual criminals should be separated from casual offenders. Provisions of education for prisoners, prison libraries issue books and periodicals. Remission systems rules also. Its reduce where libraries. The remission means the reduce the punishment. And then Government of India Act 1935, the subject of prison was transferred from the central to state government. And then finally, with the Walter Reckless, they have to recommend the prison modern system. Nowadays, we have to follow the prison system in the American prison system. The two types of prison system we have to follow. One is Pennsylvania and another one is Auburn system. In our country, the prison system, it strongly recommended the Walter Reckless 1951 to 1951. The UN aspect of correctional work, the jail administration in India, and then correctional administration, the Boston School Children Institution, and then those people are recommended that probation services, and then Board of Correctional Admin also they have to recommend it. And then that time also they got to maintain the regular conference, the India level of senior correction staffs also. And the All India Jail Manual Committee, the 1957 to 1958. As a result of the recommendation of Walter Reckless, they appointed the AGMC in 1957 to prepare a model prison manual. The committee examined the existing jail manual correctional laws, emphasized the importance of reformation of offenders. Before that, olden days, they got to maintain the capital punishment, but nowadays we got to order only for rare and rare cases only. So whatever it is, if any persons they got to committed any crime, they got to order immediately capital punishment. Nowadays, we got to follow the proper criminal procedure code, criminal procedural, so that all the things we got to follow. The MPM modern prison manual divided into 6 parts that deal with organization of different institution, staff recruitment, training, and discipline. The rules relating to the prisoners and their classification of segregation, education, work, occasional training, the reduce the punishment, and then cultural discipline, sanitation, so pre-release release also, aftercare rehabilitation also they got to maintain. The Center of Correctional Service, CCS, the 1961, to formulate the uniform policy of prison administration, advised the state government to revise their prison manual in the modern prison manual. The working group of prisoners in 1972 submitted the report to 1973. The seventh All India Jail Committee on Jail Reforms, 1982-1983, Justice Mullah Committee. The Mullah is the chairman of that committee. They made a comprehensive study of administration, recommended for complete revisions for Prison Act 1894. The rights of the prisoners should be recognized also. They have to avoid the prisoners have a certain rights, the human dignity, basic minimum needs, and then they have to communicate their family members. They have to access to law against the arbitrary, the prison punishment, and then meaning and gainful employment. And those people are released on the due date also. The enactment of separate uniform act, young offenders to covered by the 16 to 23 and girls 18 to 23 as a result of JJ Act 1980 was passed. But nowadays we got to follow the JJ Act 2000. It is a re-edited. And then eighth, the Committee of Women Prisoners 1986, the appointed committee, the VRK Justice VR Krishna Iyer, chairman to report on women prisoners and then custodial justice, women specific aspects of human rights. And then that time only the women prisoners, it's custodial rape and custodial death, custodial torture, inhumanity, these things and all those. It was happening on those days. So we have to segregated them prisoners and then segregated the adult prisoners, juvenile prisoners, women prisoners also. Educational opportunities, work with wages, better gender sensitive training for the young staff, and then refreshers for the elder ones. Must have a national authority and custodial justice to women, and then powers and responsibility of the infrastructure also. And then ninth one is All India Group of Prison Administration, Security and Discipline. In 1986, the GOA under the chairmanship of R.K. Kapoor, IPS retired director, the Intelligence Bureau appointed the committee look into the security and discipline of prison administration, which submitted in 1986. Thank you.